So we invited you all here today because of your leadership in advancing sustainability in Indianapolis. A lot of you here today helped pass the Benchmarking and Transparency Ordinance. So today, we celebrate your work by launching the Thriving Buildings program and celebrating the inaugural cohort of benchmarking participants. So with that, we're going to start with remarks from the people that helped make it happen. Mayor Joe Hogsett, Council President Ostley, Director of Facilities for Public Libraries, Adam Parsons, and Director of Indianapolis Office of Sustainability, Morgan Mickelson. So it is with my great honor, I get to introduce our Mayor, Joe Hogsett, who got a haircut for this event.
Well, thank you, Amber, for your introduction and your admission. What do you think? Okay?
Yeah, good.
I too want to thank the Indianapolis Public Library for hosting our event here today. It's appropriate, as Amber has mentioned, that we kick off this program here with an organization, our library, that has already been tracking and improving its energy efficiency, not just here at Central, but at branches across our city. In February of 2019, the City of Indianapolis introduced its first comprehensive plan to confront the local impact of climate change. Entitled Thrive Indianapolis, it charts a greener, more equitable, and sustainable path for our city in the 21st century. And so today we gather to kick off another one of that plan's 59 action items. Thriving Buildings. This program, managed by the City of Indianapolis, offers owners of large buildings throughout the city the opportunity to employ utility benchmarking to reduce energy and water usage in our city's largest buildings. However, the benefits of benchmarking go beyond that. Utility benchmarking will also create more jobs, driving the creation of local skilled positions in energy efficiency. It will improve the environmental health of our community. And added efficiencies will lower costs for building tenants and building owners alike. Many of the Thrive Indianapolis goals have a similar effect. By reducing our carbon footprint, we decrease waste, and that often leads to a reduced cost for our residents. Most importantly, by lowering emissions from our built environment, we come closer to being a carbon neutral city by 2050. And today is a critical step toward that goal, because buildings account for 66% of the carbon footprint of Indianapolis. So, let me conclude by offering my thanks to the Office of Sustainability for our city, and frankly, all of our city's partners in this important effort to help preserve the future of the place we call home, Indianapolis. But we could not have done this without the support of the Indianapolis-Marion County City County Council. So it now gives me great pleasure to turn things over to Council President Bob Osler. Mr. President.
So I cut my hair too. Every once in a while, I feel lucky enough to have a day where my public service and my professional calling and my personal conviction align in support of a single effort. And today is one of those days for me, where my service as a city county councilor for this district that covers much of downtown Indianapolis, my work as an architect, and my belief in the environment are brought together in celebration of the launch of the Thriving Buildings Initiative. The American Institute of Architects reported in 2018 that nearly 40% of greenhouse gases in the US alone can be attributed to carbon produced by buildings during construction and everyday heating, cooling, and lighting. And that same year, the National Resources Defense Council determined, as the mayor said, that buildings accounted for 66% of Indianapolis' greenhouse gas emissions. 66%. Even in a city where, as of now, or at least for now, a majority of us rely on our cars to get around rather than public transit, and where most drivers treat I-465 like it's their own personal Indy 500, as well as construction and maintenance of buildings account for the vast majority of our annual greenhouse gas emissions. So it's why the council, working with the mayor's office, adopted the Thrive Indy benchmarking ordinance in June and July of last year. And this policy was supported by Bloomberg Philanthropies, American Cities Climate Challenge, and Indianapolis was one of the 25 winning cities in that climate challenge, encouraging cities to set and surpass ambitious climate goals and ramping up action in two of the highest emitting sectors in our cities, transportation and buildings. And our city is leading by example. The ordinance requires city facilities that are over 25,000 square feet. Again, I said city facilities that are over 25,000 square feet to benchmark and report their energy and water usage. Non-city buildings in the commercial, multifamily, and industrial sectors of over 50,000 square feet will follow that lead. These requirements will phase in over time to ensure that building owners have the support that they need to make it work. Because addressing emissions from the building sector is the biggest lever that Indianapolis can pull in our efforts to address climate change, to improve air quality, and to reduce costs for building tenants and building owners. And since you can't manage what you don't measure, we're starting with benchmarking and transparency. So today we're inviting the owners of our city's large buildings to join the voluntary benchmarking program and begin tracking their energy and water usage. And in the short term, this tracking will help building owners identify spikes in energy or water usage that may point to leaks or other remediable inefficiencies, reducing operating costs for owners and utility costs for tenants. Long-term, the National Resources Defense Council estimates the benchmarking and transparency initiative will save our community $16 million in utility bills this year, create 1,400 green jobs, and reduce CO2 emissions in the built environment by 27%, as well as saving $77 million in public health costs. So, in time, maybe Indianapolis will move out of the 13th spot on the American Lung Association's list of cities with the most year-round air pollution. Yeah? I mean, that's a yes, that's a, yeah, okay. And move off of the Asthma and Allergy Foundation's annual list of US asthma capitals. So like virtually every other important thing government attempts to accomplish, we won't be doing this alone. The public-private partnerships that underpin the Thriving Buildings program offer a model for other cities around the country looking to tackle climate change and provide a roadmap to a future in which Indianapolis sets the bar, or perhaps the benchmark, for an economically and environmentally vibrant community. And with that, I would like to turn it over to Adam Parsons, Indianapolis Public Library Director of Facilities. Thank you.
Thank you, President Osley, for the introduction, and Mayor, always nice to have you at one of our libraries. I also wanted to point out a big thanks. I have been at the library for now 3 months, and so I have very little credit to take in past actions. Most of that credit, and you might not want me to do this, goes to Mike Coughlin, our Capital Projects Manager, who's been here for 20 years. He's done a lot of the heavy lifting. And thank you everyone else for coming out. Honestly, I wasn't expecting this much of a crowd. We are proud and excited to partner with the city to host the Thriving Buildings launch event. The library's vision is to be a center of knowledge, community life, and innovation for Indianapolis. One of the ways that we feel we can foster that innovation is leading by example. Our previous strategic plan from 2015 to 2020, we were directed to have all of our new construction buildings achieve at least a minimum of LEED Silver. And we were thrilled to hear when the City Council passed the benchmarking and transparency ordinance, and so we can lead again and participate in benchmarking. So in support of the ordinance and the Thriving Buildings program, we have already uploaded 8 buildings, including Central, 2 of our larger buildings, and all 5 of our LEED certified buildings into the Energy Star Portfolio Manager system. And they have all the 2021 data ready for analysis. Our goal for 2022 is to get our entire building portfolio into the system by the end of the year. That will be 24 buildings encompassing 750,000 square feet. 2023 will include the new Fort Bend and the new Glendale branch, both of those with solar arrays aiming to be LEED Silver. Again, our excitement about this benchmarking program is hard to measure, but hopefully we can manage it. It's my pleasure now to introduce Morgan Mickelson, the city's Director of Sustainability.
Thank you, Adam, for that introduction. Thank you to each of you for being here today. Thank you to those staffing tables, those participating in our voluntary program, members of the media. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. To be standing in front of you today, honestly, I'm a bit overwhelmed. It's a bit of a full circle moment for me. You see, I was brought here to Indianapolis, but a little over 2 years ago through the American Cities Climate Challenge, funded by Bloomberg Philanthropies, and my primary role was to implement a benchmarking and transparency ordinance. So, but shortly after I began, actually, we all packed up our bags and began working home indefinitely, right? And so for the next year and a half or so, I developed this policy totally remotely. We were able to conduct virtual stakeholder meetings, public feedback sessions, etc., all virtually, which, credit to the mayor here, he did not falter from this commitment we made. So now with that under my belt, passage in late last year, it's really overwhelming to be standing here in person to bring us back together. So, you know, we're in a building here that is benchmarking with a fully fledged building transparency program. It's been a long time coming. In the sustainability sphere, we talk a lot about how this work intersects with public health as well. President Osley acknowledged that, and so I wanted to point out that we have not let that go either. We're actually soon introducing a health and climate change urban profile that highlights some of this work. We've partnered with the World Health Organization, so we're really excited to preview that soon. But back to benchmarking. This analysis actually stole my thunder. I was going to share all of those stats with you. $16 million in annual utility bill savings, 27% emission reduction potential within the built environment, and a $77 million potential for annual public health benefits. I just thought it was worth repeating again because those are no small numbers. So we're really excited to drive those initiatives for Indianapolis. That really means like fewer Hoosiers growing up with asthma, right? Fewer elderly grandparents with COPD symptoms. I got my acronyms. So, but it's all thanks to you all leading the effort here. I want to thank each of our participants for pledging to benchmark early before you're even required to do so legally. So that's no small feat. We're really excited to hit the ground running with this initiative. With that, I'd like to go ahead and extend a quick thanks, and then we'll have a more ceremoniously celebration in a minute. So thank you specifically to Newfields, the Indianapolis Airport Authority, the Indianapolis Public Library, the Indiana Convention Center and Lucas Oil Stadium, Finish Line / JD Sports, Keep Indianapolis Beautiful, Pepper Construction, the Indianapolis Hebrew Congregation, All Souls Unitarian Church, Unitarian Universalist Church of Indianapolis, and the Indianapolis Marion County Building Authority. Also a special thanks to AES Indiana, U.S. Green Buildings Council, Hoosier Faith, and Hoosier Faith Interpowered Life for helping to educate our building owners today. Additionally, if you are a building owner here and you have not yet pledged to join our voluntary program, it is not too late. Please see a member of our staff. We'd love to have you join us. And thank you so much for joining us all today. I'll turn it back over to Amber Rose.
So before we celebrate our 2022 inaugural cohort of benchmarking participants, we are going to give those of you who have not yet signed the pledge but are still interested in doing so the opportunity to do that now. So my lovely colleagues Molly, Mo, and Lindsay stationed at our resource tables have fancy QR codes that you can scan and go ahead and sign up on your phone. We're also happy to answer any questions you may have. Now, if you're worried about the technical process of benchmarking, we're going to be hosting one data jam a month up until our compliance deadline, which is really our way of making data entry sound exciting, our data jams. So you can sign up for those today as well. And we're really going to walk you step by step through the process of taking your utility bills and putting it into Portfolio Manager. So I would be remiss if I didn't thank AES Indiana, Hoosier Interfaith Power and Light, U.S. Green Building Council, and Sustain Indy for being here to educate about building efficiency. So with that, I know at this point, those of you that haven't yet signed the pledge are probably itching to do so. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes now to enjoy coffee, donuts, sign the pledge, check out the resource tables, and in 10 minutes, we'll be back to celebrate our inaugural cohort of participants. Thank you all so much for being here.